Assalamualaikum, Shelyna.
Alaikum salam, Zara.
How are you doing?
I'm good, alhamdulillah. How are you today?
Alhamdulillah, doing
Yes,
well.
yes.
Missing family, missing seeing
Hmm.
people,
Yeah,
but doing okay. How
yes.
about yourself? How have things been? How have you been through COVID?
Yeah, alhamdulillah. It's had its ups and downs. I think initially when it happened, it was a welcome break that everyone was forced to be in the same situation. And I think many of us have a hard time slowing down, but this was something that was mandated for everybody. So it was a welcome change to slow down. But many months have passed, and I have to say, I'm a little bit eager, a lot eager to get back to connecting with family and friends in person. Inshallah, very soon, I
I know,
hope.
I know. Same here. I think initially when it happened, I was kind of
Mhm.
happy and relieved because life was just going so super fast
Yeah,
and there was
yeah,
so much happening. So it was a good
yes.
break. Like you said, I really did welcome and embrace that break. And I said, we need it.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
but I think it's now catching up a little bit because I feel like
Yes,
I am a people's person. So I'm
yes,
missing that connection with, sitting with friends and meeting them. And I think what is making a little bit more harder these months is winter. It's a
yes.
cold, I think it's a COVID winters that's kind of really,
Making
because
it
when the weather
drag.
was good, you could go out, you could meet and stuff. But
Yes, yes, yeah,
yeah. But we're here today to
yes.
talk about something far more important than
Hmm.
COVID.
Hmm.
Talked it all out. We're all talking
Yes,
about it.
yes, yeah.
Um, it is about you and your incredible journey.
Hmm.
You know, I you are an incredibly remarkable person. Like
Hmm.
I've seen you so many times, and every time I see you, I see a lot of strength and courage.
Hmm.
And I think that it would just be fair for you to
Hmm.
tell your story.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for those kind words. I appreciate them. Um, so my story started as a profession. I'm an occupational therapist, and I work with people with various illnesses, including cancer. And then in 2007, my father was diagnosed with cancer. And my father and I had an incredible relationship. I was his eldest daughter, and we're very similar in personality. We're very both positive, and we like to make the best of a situation. And honestly, we like to have fun. We really do like to have a party. So when he was diagnosed, and I was also the person in the family in healthcare. So I kind of nominated myself to go with him for his hospital appointments and some of his treatments. And I witnessed his journey with cancer firsthand. So that was my first personal connection to cancer. And then, as Allah would have it, in 2012, he passed away. And but what was interesting, Zara, is Allah has a bigger plan. Is just a few months before that, my mom started going for tests. And 5 days before he passed away, she was given the diagnosis of having cancer herself. So that was a shock. That was such a shock because my mom has been the embodiment, like she personifies health to me. She's always taken care of herself physically, eaten well, exercise. So that was a big shock and blow to us and to her. And so as soon as my father passed away, I continued the journey with my mom, witnessing her experience with cancer. And um, all of us daughters and the son-in-laws and the grandchildren rallied around her to give her support to go through her treatment. And alhamdulillah, she's doing really well. And then life was going smoothly for all of us. And then in 2017, I found a lump and I was diagnosed with breast cancer. So, and that's when my personal connection got even more deepened for me, not only to be a caregiver or an advocate for my parents, but to now witness this journey in itself. I'm just going to take a breath. Wow.
That's a lot. That is a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, how did you do it? when it, so I think
Mhm.
I I mean, I could imagine, only imagine that when you're going through something like this with a close family member,
Mhm.
your strength, your physical strength is there, right? Your
Mhm.
emotional
Mhm.
strength might be weak, and you have to kind of
Mhm.
really work at being strong emotionally,
Yes.
but your
Yes.
physical strength is there, and you're on a
Yes.
mission. You're on a
Yes.
mission that my job is to
Exactly.
support them in every
Yeah.
way possible.
Exactly.
And I'm sure you did, and I can, like, I think you did a fabulous and amazing job with that.
Yeah.
But how did you process it, or how did it impact you when it came to you?
Mhm.
What were your feelings at that time?
So I don't think, to be honest, I processed what I was going through at the time of diagnosis and treatment, if I'm perfectly honest. And I think a lot of people feel the same way. I just put on my warrior hat, meaning I'm going to fight this. And I've seen what people need to do in order to um, go through these treatments with dignity and with faith.
Yeah.
So I knew my intention and my purpose was to get through the medical treatment so that I could survive to live for my children. So my purpose was to go through these treatments so that I could have more time with my three wonderful children. And at the time they were 17, 15, and 13. So that was my purpose. And so and I didn't want them to be impacted, as many, all moms, we worry about our children. I didn't want them to feel scared. I didn't want them to feel anxious, even though I know I couldn't control all of their emotions, but I wanted to. As a mom, we want to look out for our children. So I put my warrior hat on and I went through all the treatments. And by nature, alhamdulillah, I am positive. So it didn't feel like an act. I went and I educated myself with what would help me through my treatments. So I knew, for example, the importance of staying hydrated. I knew the importance of a little bit of exercise. I knew the importance of taking rest and slowing down. Even if I didn't slow down, the treatments force you to slow down. So that was interesting in itself. So I used those things to help me move forward through my treatments. And alhamdulillah, I think all of those things really helped. Having family and friends who were so supportive and so positive really helped. And also just leaning on Allah, because I went through a really dark pit when in the middle of my chemos and then in the middle of my radiation. I got really, really scared. And the pain was honestly excruciating. So that allowed me to connect to Allah in such a deep and profound manner that I don't regret the experience, if I can say it that way.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think for anyone to go through like any kind of hardship
Yes.
and to come out of it,
Mhm.
um, creating an even deeper and stronger bond with Allah,
Mhm.
I think then that means that we've learned the lesson that we're meant to learn. And I think over a period of time, and I mean, everybody, I guess, goes through their own set of, challenges in life.
Right.
And I think the magnitude of those challenges are
Mhm.
very different.
Mhm.
I guess it's based on what Allah wants you to learn or improve on,
Exactly.
right?
Yes.
And that's how I look at it. And I think when I was younger,
Yes.
I wouldn't understand. I couldn't
Right.
comprehend. For me, it
Right.
used to be like, why is this happening? Like, it's
Right.
questions, lots of
Yes.
questions.
Yes.
And today, I
Yes.
feel like when something happens, I'm not completely. Uh, I don't go into this mindset where I'm in denial of it. I kind of
Right.
feel the feelings. Like if I
Right.
feel down,
Mhm.
it's okay to feel the feelings, and
Right.
then I kind of process. Okay, what does Allah want me to learn? That's my
Right.
first question, right?
Yes.
What do I need to learn from this?
Yes.
Okay, like what is Allah trying to tell me?
Yes.
And if I
Exactly.
can even think that question in that situation, that means I'm kind of on the right track. And I think for you, like you
Exactly.
said, in your deepest, darkest times,
Yes.
and most painful times,
Yes.
you find one of the deepest connections.
Absolutely, because it really is the perspective of Allah giving us an invitation to see more than what's happening in front of us. It's not about the cancer, it's about what's opening up for you. And it's also about getting real with who you are and what does this incident stand for. And so that's exactly how I got through it, is I had to see, well, what's the bigger connection? Because I said, you know, these are not random facts. These are not random events. There's no coincidences. God has a plan, and I need to connect the dots and figure out what's the purpose here. So I connected the dots. I went through my treatment, and then I took some, I didn't work during my treatment. And then I took some time off with the family. I rested, and then I was like, okay, I'm done. Cancer is behind me. I'm going back to work, and I overcame cancer. And that's when I got blown again. I was like, what? I couldn't pick up the pieces as quickly as I thought I could. I was slower, and I had difficulty processing the information as I was working, even tasks at home, like things in the kitchen that I would multitask, you know, talk to the kids, cook at the same time, wash a few dishes. I was like doing one thing at a time. I was really much slower. And that bothered me. That bothered me a lot, because I was trying, my destination was to get back to who I was. And then that opened up a whole new world, that why am I trying to get back to that person? Why don't I see who this new person is after going through this treatment? And after having been through that pit, what am I meant to learn here? What does Allah want me to do with this information? So that was amazing. That was really, really amazing. As hard as it was to go through those difficulties, it was eye-opening.
Yeah. I think that we have to unlearn a lot of things.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I think and that's okay. I feel like I, as a mom, young mom of 4, multitasking was my forte. Like, I would be doing 10 things in one go, and I would be very proud of it. Like,
yes.
but I can, and you know, lately I've realized that it's not the best practice. I mean, you do it when you need to do it, but it should be a lifestyle.
Yes, exactly.
Multitasking should not be a lifestyle. It should be used more to kind of be a little bit efficient in the moment.
Yes.
But you cannot have a lifestyle based on multitasking, because it's not good.
Exactly.
So to unlearn that, and that caused me, when I went through my, you know, whatever thing, for me, it was like, oh, it's like being a perfectionist or being super efficient. So I had to unlearn those things.
Exactly. So they're the belief system that we grow up with, and we assume are correct, and we assume the patterns that we've been living is in our best interests, because that's what we were doing. So we assume that's right. So when you're in that spot where things are rattled, and you have this invitation to kind of explore yourself, you get to question those beliefs and say, well, is this actually true? Number one. And number two, is this serving me? Is this working for me? Like the multitasking example. And I realized it's not. And it's okay to expand, and it's okay to change as we age.
Absolutely.
And there's no downfall in that. There's no, it's actually enlightening to do that.
Yeah. And I think that I'm happy that I had the ability to multitask when I did.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's no regrets about that.
Right.
Because if I did not have the ability to do that, I don't know how we would have raised 4 kids.
Right.
You know?
Yes.
I mean, it would have been hard. So I think in that moment, and I think that's one thing that I've also kind of learned and identified, is the strengths in the moment that you have them are an asset, but that does not mean that going forward, the same strength will be an asset. So you kind of have to now cash out.
Yeah. Yes. And recognizing those patterns and choosing which patterns and which beliefs serve you to move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really the importance of that pause, right? Just like how you described at the beginning of the pandemic, you know, we were forced to slow down. We were on a train that was not stopping, all of us, I think. And, you know, the way the universe and Allah works is we were all forced to take a pause. And what we do with that pause is up to us, right? Some of us may say, well, why did I have to go through this? Why did the pandemic have to come? Why did I have to get this disease? And some of us may choose to say, well, like you said, what am I supposed to learn from this experience?
Or
and unlearn. I think, or unlearn, exactly. And I think that kind of mindset serves us better.
Exactly. And then, and I guess, you know, if you've learned your lesson and if you have made the changes, you know, for the better, then I think that now we feel like, okay, now we've arrived at that destination. Now, God, come on, let us off the train.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Let us off the COVID train now.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
So, but we're all in this together, and it's a huge COVID train. So we may have learned our lesson, but we have to wait until everybody else does. And so in due time, everything will happen. And that's where I think faith and trust comes in.
Absolutely.
We just need to have that faith and trust that when it is the right time.
Yes. Yeah. And we have to lean on those things that move us forward, that give us our support. So it's important for people to recognize what those things are, right? Whether it's our faith, whether it's specific family members and friends, whether it's quotes or, you know, or walks in nature. It really is dependent on the individual, but it's so important to recognize your allies and what lifts you up, because we all need allies.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right.
And I think that the biggest thing that the biggest ally that we need to have on our side is ourselves.
Well said.
I think that is one of the most important things. I think that after Allah, right, I feel like I need to be my best friend. And I need to love myself first. And there is nothing wrong with that. And I think it's again the same pattern and the learning and the unlearning that we were told. As if you think about yourself, you're very selfish. If you put yourself first, you're selfish. You should be selfless, is what always was told.
We've been brought up to believe. Yes.
Exactly. And so I feel like it is so incredibly important and to love yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And again, with a fine balance, right? Allah says everything has to be in a balance. You cannot obsess with yourself. That's wrong. And you cannot completely be so selfless that you don't take care of yourself, because we have a responsibility towards ourselves.
Right. Absolutely. Yes. So I agree with you. After Allah, our next ally is ourselves. And it's recognizing the strength within ourselves to move us forward, and to be real with ourselves, and to adopt that growth mindset that if I tumble, or if I have a fall, or if I make a mistake, what is the learning? Instead of going to that conditioning that some of us have been brought up with, of beating ourselves up about a mistake, which I know I went through significantly and continue to fall into that pattern at times until I catch myself, is what's the learning in this situation, right? Okay, so I made a mistake. What am I meant to learn? And let's redo this in a way that moves me forward. So I totally agree with you that self-love is very important. And to me, that means being in alignment with who you are, really knowing your core values and your strengths and what you as a unique individual bring into this world. Because when you recognize your own value and your own strength and understand that you have a purpose in this world, only then can you move forward and transform.
Absolutely. And I think that in that purpose is where you bring others in.
Absolutely.
Right? So like I need to love myself. I need to appreciate myself. I need to accept myself.
Yes.
Knowing that there's always growth and improvement.
Right.
And then I create my purpose, which is, let's say for some, it's to help people. For
Right.
some, it is to, so we all have a purpose in life, and we all come into the
Absolutely.
world with a purpose. We
Yes.
have to find it. Now, Allah
Yes.
can make everything very easy for us, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's it's like going into one of those escape rooms where you're trying to figure things out, right?
Yeah. Yeah. He's given us all the pieces.
Exactly.
And he encourages that self-reflection, right? To put all the pieces together.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's where, if in your purpose, you have a component that is purpose for others, then that does not make you selfish.
Yes.
Right? Then that doesn't make you self-obsessed. That means you're taking care of yourself, you're putting yourself first, so you are able to achieve your purpose, which is this, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
So yeah, I mean, I think that we have to, again, unlearn so many things and learn so many new things. And I think for me, 2021 is going to be about self-love. A lot, you know, I feel like it is one of the most important things after, you know, finding your connection with Allah, is to love yourself. So what do you do for self-love? What are the things that you like to do for self-care and just
self-care and self-love? I really like to, so I do this values exercise with my clients, and so it's an exercise which allows you to tap into your top 5 values. So I post those values in my room, and so I continue to look at it and say, well, what did I do today to be in alignment with my values? Because that makes me, it continues to keep me on check that I'm living a life that serves myself with the values that I have. So that's one thing I do. Another thing is really just checking in with myself throughout the day. So just a 2-minute check-in and saying, well, how am I feeling physically? How am I feeling emotionally? How am I feeling spiritually? And where's my hope at this moment? And then I ask myself, what is a word to describe how I'm feeling right now? So this simple exercise, Zara, allows me to ground myself and get to the present moment. Because so many times I find I'm thinking about the past or I'm planning for the future. But this simple exercise, if I do a couple of times a day, it allows me to ground myself and get to the real time. That's another thing I do. Gratefulness. Gratefulness is such an amazing tool to promote self-love and self-care. So really taking time in my day to acknowledge and reflect on the things that I'm grateful for. So those are a few things that I do. Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah. And listening to my body, like listening to, because every one of us has that inner intuition that tells us what we need. We have all the answers. Allah has equipped us with an incredible mind and body, and we have so much wisdom inside us, but sometimes it's that noise and that, you know, that noise, that chatter in our brain that stops us from tapping into that inner wisdom that Allah has equipped us with. So that's why I so try and incorporate the grounding exercise and checking in order to stop that noise and just tap into my inner self.
Yeah, that's actually such a good thing to do. And you know, daily check-in during the day, in the middle of the day, just check in with yourself. Hey, how am I doing? Do I need a break? Do I need to just you know, sit for 5 minutes? And I think that today's mother has it the hardest, because I mean, now, before, I think when I was raising our kids, like, you know, as a mother, I didn't quite even know that concept. I'll be very honest with you.
Me too.
So there was no struggle, right? Because I wasn't struggling to do that. Now I feel like there is the awareness. So moms now want to do that. They just don't know how to do that.
Right. Absolutely.
And it's now just telling yourself that I'm a mother, I should be selfless and I should be devoted, but I would like to do this for myself and do it without the guilt.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And even in that check-in, the power of the breath, like that is so important. It's such a simple exercise, is in that 2-minute check-in, just to take a minute to breathe, because it's so centering and grounding just to take a few deep breaths. And yesterday I had an amazing day working and just doing things that I love. And then at the end of the day, I did this check-in and I said, wow, my heart is so full, but I'm tired, And I said, okay, what are you going to do with this? And say, well, I'm going to honor this, and I'm going to have a quiet evening with the family. I don't want to talk anymore. I just want to be still, right? But it's that power of the breath and checking in to say, what's happening to me right now, and what do I actually need? As opposed to always saying, well, what does everybody else need? It's checking in, because when we check in with ourselves and we give ourselves what we need, we can totally fill ourselves up with what we need and then give to others in so many ways.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is a message to all the new moms that if you set it right from day one with your children, then your children will not need to unlearn what we've taught them, that mom is selfless. Mom is always there, which mom will be, but the fact that mom needs time should be taught to the children from day one. And then they will respect you for that, and they will learn that for themselves. So it's like planting that seed from day one.
Yes, absolutely. And for those moms who, like you and I, who didn't learn that early on, it's not too late, right?
No, it's not too late.
It's not too late to plant those seeds, because our children, we're human beings. We continue to learn and we continue to evolve. And that's what Islam teaches us, is continue your growth, continue your personal development, right?
Yes. Yes. And on that note, so your career has taken a little bit of a
So Zara, as I was saying, I was connecting the dots to why my parents had cancer and I had cancer, and the mindset was always, okay, so I'm meant to be a better occupational therapist. So when I work with people with cancer, I am more empathetic. So I thought that was the answer. And then after a little while, I found this amazing institute in California, and they're called the Cancer Journey Institute. And I started a program with them called Cancer Journey Coaching. And to me, that was so real, because it was allowing people to process their journey with cancer. Because remember, you asked me, how did you do it? And I said, well, I didn't actually process it until after the medical treatment was over. So this program, where I'm now in a international certification program to be a cancer journey coach, has taught me such amazing tools to allow myself as well as others to continue that personal development. So now I'm working with people who may have gone through cancer, who are going through cancer. And I've also got some people who are not, they don't have a disease, but they're just women who are so curious about this personal development, and they want to deepen their understanding of themselves. And so that is my new passion. And I feel that is actually the bigger learning from all of this connections to cancer. It's for me to help people who are struggling with cancer, as well as women who are just have a desire to learn more about themselves and what they bring to the world. Because we all bring so much to the world, but sometimes that noise and the distractions in our busy lives prevent us from tapping into that inner intuition, in our unique strengths that we bring. So that's what I'm doing now.
So you're going to be that coach that's going to help people, or women, as you're saying, learn that about themselves.
Absolutely. Yes.
That's incredible. I wish I had you 20 years ago.
Yeah. You know what?
It would have been very different. Like, and I know that we've evolved and we've grown, and
yes,
so good, because like the generation that's coming up will be so much more aware.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm so excited for them. I really am, because they have all this resources and these tools to allow for that pause, that check-in, and then that ability to ask themselves, well, what actually do I want to do? As opposed to saying, this is what you need to do. This is the right path. but they have this opportunity to pause and choose, well, what actually do I want to do with myself, and what do I bring to the world?
I think it's also because we're changing the measure, right? I feel like we're changing the measure of success.
Wow. Yes.
Right. I think that's one of the biggest things. So I think maybe what 10, 12, 15, between I think 10 and 20 years ago, that kind of bracket, I feel like the measure of success was very different.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
It was,
so
okay, which degree do you have now, and where are you working, and you know, what property do you own, or what car do you drive, and what watch do you wear? You know, like it was literally that. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with having those things, but measuring your success on those is what is wrong. And I think that awareness is now here. So whether it's mom, or whether it's a family, or whether it's a guy, right? Then so for our children to understand that we don't need to measure success with material things, right? And there's a bigger picture. And I think that we're unchaining our children.
Yes.
A little bit.
The narrative of success has changed. Absolutely.
Like crazy. Like
absolutely.
Crazy.
Yes.
Crazy. Yeah. And I think that is so important. So how do you now feel? Like from where you started and where you are today, what is your feeling? What is your understanding? Where do you find yourself now?
That's such a huge question. I find myself, the word that's coming to my mind is actually expansion. I feel like I'm expanding myself, because before, if I reflect on how I lived before, I was very happy. I was very blessed and I felt grateful. But I feel like I was a little bit constricted, and that constriction was coming from myself. It wasn't imposed on me from other people, but it was self-imposed because I thought that's what I had to do. So I feel now I'm expanding to step into who I actually have been all along.
But you just didn't know.
But I just didn't know, or maybe I was filled with fear and beliefs that I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. So
does that make sense?
It totally makes sense. Just yesterday I had posted something on my Instagram stories where I don't remember the quote exactly, but it was about leading yourself with hope rather than fear. And I think that's what a lot of us do. We lead ourselves with a lot of fear.
Yes. And there's no judgment against fear, but it's what we do with the fear, right? Do we let the feeling of fear paralyze us and constrict us? Or do we acknowledge it, kind of analyze where the fear is coming from, and then make a decision to serve us to move forward, right?
Exactly. And on that note, I'm just remembering about fear. So I'm a little bit of a lazy reader. So I listen to audiobooks.
that's just your point.
No, it's just that to make that time to sit and read. So what I do is I have an audiobook. So these days I've been listening to Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty. Oh my God. Like it is a must. And I say that only because we just started talking about fear. And in that book, he spoke about this experiment that had happened. And I don't know if I'll do justification to explain it to you, but these people, they created a biodome and put a tree in there.
Yes.
Right. And the tree grew and grew and grew, but they realized the tree was not strong, even though every single thing that the tree needed was in there. Right.
Yes.
And then they realized what was missing was fear.
Right.
The wind that shakes that tree at the beginning. That was missing. So then the tree did not, out of fear, create strong bark, like a strong trunk. And so that's what was missing. And that, you have to listen to it. As I said, I don't think
it's funny because I read the book and somehow I'm not remembering that thing, right? That story or that. But it's funny how when you read something or you listen to something, your mind remembers different aspects of it, right?
Yeah.
But I also loved that book. I really.
So I have it I played in my car, and believe it or not, I think every
Yes.
time, I don't know, I feel it'll take me 5 years to finish the book because I keep going back and I want to listen to it again.
Yes. Yes.
Every time I listen to it, I catch something else. So that's why I
Yes.
like the audiobooks, because then I
Yes.
can drive and listen. And so
Right.
that's my thing. But yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Fear has to be there, but it's
Yes.
it's like you said,
Yeah.
100% what we do with fear. And
Yes.
whether it's cancer in your
Yes.
case,
Exactly.
or any other challenge anybody else faces. And for you,
Right.
I think you going through it with your father, and then with your mother, and then with
Mhm.
yourself,
Right.
you went through many different layers of fear,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
to understand that fear, acknowledge
Mhm.
that fear,
Mhm.
and then, so I guess you probably even had a real growth in how you managed fear.
Absolutely, because we're layers. Yes, because we are layers, right? So each experience continues to invite us to shed another layer to get to our true essence, right? To get to our core without all these fears and feelings that kind of don't allow us to tap into who we are.
Yeah, this has been one of the most positive conversations I've had around one of the most negative topics.
Oh, cancer?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because
yeah.
every time you hear the word cancer, it's like everybody, there's fear, and
there's stigma, there's judgment.
Well, and I guess in some ways rightfully so, with what people go through,
Right.
but because they don't know how to go through it. And like, as somebody like you,
right,
who is not just equipped with the medical know-how and what are the things that you can do for your body,
right,
you also bring in that component of the spiritual side of it,
right,
the more awareness side of it, to look beyond that. And I think that would give people so much positivity and hope.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah.
And I would say, and I think you would probably maybe even agree with me, is that what you think is what you believe is what you manifest into reality. So if you think and believe that yes, this cancer is there, and whatever may happen at the end, I will still be positive about what I learned from it, or how I grew from it, right? And then you kind of manifest that into a reality, and everybody's reality is different. And I understand that cancer does not have the same ending for everyone.
Right, exactly. And that's why I say, that positivity is definitely something I lead with, but I don't want to give the illusion that it was all roses, right? There were some really dark moments in it, but it's having that coach or that person who gets you to be able to sit with you with those dark feelings. Because many times when you go through cancer or any life-altering event, you don't want to share your fears because you don't want to worry others, right? And I had amazing family and friends, and I still didn't want to share all my deepest fears with them. And so that cancer journey coach would allow you to kind of sit with your fears without judgment, without somebody saying, that's not true, be positive, just allowing you just to be and to process your feelings, and then guiding you through to a bigger future, to a bigger vision. That's the purpose of the cancer journey coach. So to have somebody safe to speak with and walk side by side with you as you go through this journey. And it is a different journey for everybody.
It is. And then again, like, I know if I would reach out to somebody for help, like a therapist or whatever. And I think for me, the biggest thing is, well, how would you know?
Right.
How would you know about that?
Yes. Yeah.
For me, the biggest thing was, how would you know raising very little kids with limited, with no help, pretty much at that time. And that was my, like, I'm just kind of, and so how would you know how it felt? Right. Yes. But with you as a coach,
right.
I mean, there is no, like, you've been through it, and you've not just been through it with yourself, you've been through it with two of the most important people in your life, right?
Yes. Yes.
You know that feeling. So when you hold somebody's hand and you give them that look,
Yes.
That look will say 1,000 words, I hear
Right.
you and I
Yes.
feel you, I know what you're going
Yeah.
through. And I think
Yeah.
just that look exchange will give
Right.
the other person so much strength, I find.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it's that connection from a place of personal experience, right? And the beauty of coaching, which I never realized before, is it's not therapy. Because therapy, you're going to somebody who's a specialist. Coaching is all about the answers are within the person. The person is not broken. They don't need fixing. They just need a safe space to explore what they're thinking and what they're feeling, and they have the answers within them. Just like Imam Ali alayhi salam saying, right? That wisdom is in us, and coaching just provides a platform for that person to tap into their own wisdom.
Yeah, yeah, and it's not, and I guess I mean, there are times when you do need that therapy component in your life.
Yes, absolutely,
Need that
absolutely.
textbook stuff.
Yeah,
but I
yes.
think that for a lot of people, like, and again, I can only go back to what my experience in my life was,
Right.
and I feel like if I had a coach, a mom coach, when I was raising my kids,
Right.
my experience could have been very different. But then again,
Yeah.
I had, in my moment, I had my learning to do, and maybe
Yes.
because my purpose was now,
Exactly.
it was not for me to suffer. Allah loves us too much. He does make us go through certain things. It's so it's like learning how to walk. A mother
Right.
does not love the child if the
Yes.
child is trying to get up and fall and
Yes.
get up and
Yes,
fall.
exactly.
It doesn't
Beautiful
mean
example.
that I love my child. It just means I need them to learn, right?
Yes, that's a beautiful example, Zara. Yes, absolutely.
Right? So that's how I
Yeah.
feel, and I
Yeah.
think that now that I have learned how to walk, I can
Yes.
help others, and that's what it
Absolutely.
is. That's what it is. But
Yeah.
oh God, this was so good. This was so
Yeah.
good. So,
Yeah.
do you want to tell us a little bit more about your coaching with the women?
So so people can contact me, and then I offer individual sessions, or they can buy a package of sessions. It's done over the phone or Zoom, whatever they prefer, if they like the video. And really, I use a number of tools, and some are standardized tests to teach the women to tap into their own values and their own strengths, and recognize their allies to help them move through the journey. And then together we come up with goals and a bigger vision, because we as human beings always want a vision, and we need to see beyond ourselves. Just like you said, there's a bigger purpose to everything. And so it's always about service, and it's about opportunities for growth. So I would help these women do that, whatever stage they're in their journey, whether they're going through their cancer or post their treatment. So that's it in a nutshell.
Or even outside of cancer, right?
Or even outside of cancer. That's what I'm actually beginning as well, that I see the value in women taking a pause and just kind of taking some time for themselves to tap into their own selves, because we get distracted, and we're busy, right? Moms, daughters, wives, all of it. And even if we're not affiliated with our own families, even if we're single, with life sometimes gets so busy, we forget to kind of tap into who we actually are and what we're meant to do. So even with those individuals, I see a value in it.
Absolutely. I think it's planting the right seeds.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. So
yeah.
Thank you so much for this.
Yeah. Thank you for inviting me. I really enjoyed the chat.
Yes, I did too. And inshallah, I think we will continue.
Yes.
This is probably, or hopefully, the first of many others to come. And we will definitely keep in touch. And I can't wait to see you in person.
Yes, inshallah. Big hug once we can.
Big hug. Thank you so much, Shelyna. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Sarah.